society is how it treats...
Recording in progress.
It's women and girls. We create the smart, powerful, creative, accomplished young women. We can fight. I'm here because of you. I'm here because girls like you inspire me.
Buckle up, Buttercups. It's another episode of Surly Voices here on WMNF Tampa 88.5. We are doing our first test run at broadcasting the show. It's not live today, but as soon as we get the bumps worked out, then we will be up and running. My name is Liz. I'm one of your hosts. Across from me is Donna. How are you, Miss Donna?
I'm ready to whip out my thing and throw down. Let's go.
Let's go. And then joining us by Zoom is Maria. How are you this morning, Maria?
Good morning. I'm doing okay.
Awesome. So, Donna, tell us what's on the agenda today.
What's on the agenda today? So all kinds of things are happening. The phone is ringing. Oh, my. All right. So here we are. We're going to discuss the targeting and killing of 23-year-old Palestinian journalist Hassam Shabbat, who was reportedly on a hit list before his murder in Palestine this week. Working journalist wearing the vest. Is SCOTUS breaking up with Donald Trump? So we see, what's his name? Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. Again, this is the second time we've seen her kind of pulling back from what is expected of her for her pound of flesh that she owes Donald Trump. And it's a little convoluted, and we can't really do a flash on that one. It's a very complex issue that is actually not in the Constitution and should not probably be being heard by the Supreme Court, but we'll get to that later. Americans protesting Tesla and Elon Musk in response to his role as the de facto leader at the Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE. Recent developments include U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi warning Jasmine Crockett, Democrat out of Texas, to tread carefully after Crockett's comments at a virtual rally. And our Drama Llama of the Week award, that's new, and we're going to keep that one. And llamas, goats, all of the animals in that kind of family are really dramatic and emotional.
Yes.
Okay? So the Drama Llama is going to feature people who've gone beyond the current, I would say, it's an enhanced value of drama that's happening right now. And so we're going to put them all the way over into the Drama Llama lane.
Yeah, because the drama bar keeps going up.
It keeps going up. And that's going to go to Mike Waltz for adding Atlantic editor Jerry Goldberg to a Signal group chat where national security matters were being shared. And we hear that they're now calling Pete Hegseth a certain name that includes America's favorite adult beverage, but we're not going to use it because we're going to kind of stay out of the Hot Wheels, Bad Body, Butch, that area. No matter, even if our heroes, if they go into that space, we're going to kind of pull back from that, right? We're going to enjoy the other, hyper drama and drama llama-ing, as it were, but we're not going to go against our own previously set standards for how we engage with people who have challenges.
Right.
Okay.
No ableism, no shaming people for, no slut shaming, et cetera, et cetera.
Including Pete, as much as that's good.
As tempting as it is.
Tempting as it is. Florida's upcoming special elections. Now, we haven't talked a lot about that, but it is getting hot in her. Okay? Republican candidates have been outraised, but will they be outvoted? A scandal involves Democratic candidates and consultants in Florida's CD6, and it makes a potential upset increasingly possible amid Washington's governmental turmoil. My mind is so spun from this 2 years of Trump that we've just endured that I thought it said CDG. I was like, Charles de Gaulle, who's flying? Man, I want to leave. Okay. And so that's what we got for you today. I'm sure a couple other things people will call in and they'll creep in. We'll try to stick to this stuff. I mean, that's plenty, but you know how we do it.
Yeah.
Liz.
We roll.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a big follower of comment sections because I want to see what real people are saying.
The party's always in the comments.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like everything.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
If it's a recipe for cookies, there's people in the comments talking.
Fighting cat video. I can understand better if I read the comments. Yes.
So, yeah. And it amazes me still to this point that Trump can do no wrong with approximately half the population.
You know, I was listening to, Elaine Tett and Ezra Klein, probably at 2 o'clock in the morning, because, you know, I study and I try to make sure that I come into the studio informed. Doesn't always work because life happens, right? And you're just flying by the seat of your pants. But I was listening to her. She's also an anthropologist in addition to being something in the field of economics. She's an anthropologist, and she was trying to make sense of it. Did it work? No. But because I feel like what she does is she makes it sound so much smarter and sensible and less unhinged than it is. And I think that's in the realm of normalizing this stuff, which I think we shouldn't even attempt to do.
No.
Okay?
No.
We can discuss motivations, but making it sound as if the people involved, I don't even want to say Democrats or Republicans anymore, because it's gotten so out of pocket on both sides.
Yes.
And none of it makes sense. All of it sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Right.
To me at this point. Yeah. I mean, Bernie is, he's salient, sometimes. AOC comes in and out. Jasmine Crockett is going further into the theater of the absurd. And less like, I'm going to get y'all, and I'm not letting y'all get away with that. That's what it felt like to me at first. And I was so grateful for it. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like it's, here's an opportunity for me to get my face in the sauce.
Exactly.
And slowly, the media on the left and liberal media is starting to drag her for it. And I think there's some misogynoir in that. Like, I pay attention to that, keep my spidey senses up.
Yep.
Some of it is, who does she think she is? She's an uppity negress. But I do believe that she's I saw early AOC do this. It was every opportunity to get the cameras look my way. Look at me.
Right.
It was happening. And I feel like this is her 15 minutes of fame. Now, I want to be very clear about something. As I was researching Jasmine Rep Crockett last night, I want to be respectful. So I was researching Rep Crockett last night. I found that she is from St. Louis. She went to the most elite girls' school in all of Missouri. And she didn't always talk like that. There's video of her very eloquently and succinctly explaining the reasons why something should not be happening in a case as a young lawyer. And
she's code switching.
She changed her accent, she changed her face, she changed her style, which people do, right? And you can get a new face now. There's like a thing that, people do. I plan to get a new face, so I am not shading her. When it's time, I'm getting a new face. So there's definitely been a change, even since the beginning of her tenure as a rep. But like I said, I'm monitoring this for misogynoir because there seems to be a different standard I mean, and MGT got dragged, last year. We've dragged Lauren Bobart. We dragged these women, but I don't feel like the things that Jasmine has said or done rise to that level. And that's enough of that. Okay, so we're going to move right along here. And so Drama Llama's Mike Waltz, we'll see, their nominees are already nominating themselves for next week. Okay, so can we go to Florida special election?
Okay.
Okay. There's some stuff happening in there. Okay. Oh, it appears that that Democratic candidate Josh Weil has spent $51,000. Now, I want to be clear, this is like a month-long campaign. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's it. It's like 30 days.
Right.
Now, I've worked on a lot of campaigns, and it's typical to spend a budget for an office for a larger campaign might be $3,000. A budget for an Airbnb for a consultant to come to town, even in New York City, those max out around $5,000 or $6,000. Does anyone venture to guess how much Josh has spent for his office/hybrid housing quarters for consultants? Just give me a number. Throw something out there.
$20,000.
$51,000.
What?
$51,000.
How?
Because it is a compound. It's a compound. Airbnb, I think there are 18 rooms, 13 bedrooms maybe. It's like a massive. The rooms are in the teens. I can't remember the number. I don't have it in front of me right now. $51,000 on an Airbnb, and somewhere upwards of 30-something% of that money is actually going to, and he's actually taking a salary from the campaign funds, which, the author admitted that was odd. I've never seen the candidate take a salary from the campaign. And I'd like to hear what Maria thinks about that. Dr. Cole. Josh, taking a salary.
On its face, it's excessive. I would like to see the map of the district, because I do know that it goes across a few counties. It would make more sense if it were, if it were a district as spread out as CD1, and you had to have like 3-4 different offices across a very large spread out district. I would try to rationalize it, but I honestly cannot rationalize $51,000 for anything. Like for a month, like we had a cap of like $2,500 for office space, right? And we had a cap of like $3,000 a month living quarters for 2 people, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd need to know. I honestly, if I were to give him any kind of grace at all, I'd need to know how many people are staying there. What does that, I'd need to know a lot more, quite frankly.
So that's what I said, right? I'm reading this stuff about the consultants. I'm reading this stuff about money being spent irresponsibly. I mean, and I'm reading it and I'm thinking, well, this is kind of not new, right? And so I didn't want to jump to conclusions because I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me. But Florida politics keeps writing about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And normally they just leave people alone unless they're doing something egregious like, oh, was it $5 million? I don't remember getting that. And so then you're going to find yourself being written about because that happened in Florida. We're not going to name names because we're not on that today. But this happens. But the reputation that consultants have is that they live pretty high on the hog. It's been known for top consultants to take a turboprop from Jacksonville to Tallahassee. Right? That's a thing. Okay, it's a thing. And I think if you're winning and you're known to win, you kind of get to do stuff like that. But if you're not winning and you are paying yourself at the top of the pop charts here, and you've been in the game for 3 or 4 years, then you're going to have some troubles. I'm waiting. I am withholding judgment like Maria. My eyes are bugged out here. but I'm going to withhold judgment until I see more evidence. And I'm sure Liz, being an attorney, would co-sign that, we don't want to rush to judgment without a full evaluation of the evidence at hand. And right now, I feel like the evidence at hand, it shows bad management, but not criminal management.
Well, I mean, in context, you look at the Tampa City Council race where Nepo Mom actually spent like $1+ million for a city council seat. And so it's like, why don't we to this day have campaign laws that say you can't spend any money, period?
When I initially wrote the ad for this show, I said that, $11 million at least has been spent in the pursuit of making a long shot slightly less of a long shot. In a state that is not seeing an influx of lots of dollars for many reasons. One of many reasons being how money has been spent in the past, but mostly because of where we are and what our electorate looks like at this point.
Can I just interject here 1 second for two reasons, right? I don't have a problem with anybody spending $11 million if at the end of the day, right, you leave a return on investment. And that doesn't mean that you have to win. Right. But there's no sense of permanent infrastructure being built so that we can actually make some forward progress in this broken, failed system that we call democracy, which is starting to look less and less like one every day. Right?
And so if you have... I got to interrupt you. We means not WMNF. And so we're using Democrats and naming the people so that we don't slip up, and because that's some directions that I'm getting from my betters about how we talk about this.
And the opinions expressed on Surly Voices are those of Surly Voices and not those of WMNF.
Okay, go on.
I just also want to remind people that the reason why we're even having this special election is to replace a guy named Mike Waltz, who happened to put that signal chat together and violate a whole host of, or let me just put it this way, and participated in a whole host of questionable activities that are before Congress and before the American people right now. Okay? I mean, I think that we have to be thinking about, like, what are we really doing here?
You know what I think, though, Maria? I think that I feel like there's a fire drill, and everyone is trying to get out of the gym. And nothing makes sense. Like, people are just pushing their way to the front.
I feel like there's a fire drill, and some people are like, but let me do my last rep.
Yes.
I feel like there's a fire drill, and they're just like, oh, one more set, man. Yeah. Can somebody spot me?
Somebody spot me. The man on the flying trapeze, I get all of the circus memes are coming through at this point. So we've got that. We're gonna restrain ourselves because we work in this industry, and lots of things are said about people that work in this industry. So we're not gonna hop on the bandwagon just yet. When you see me sharing the memes, because they're out there, right? They're out there about this consultant. They're out there about this campaign. When you see me sharing those memes, we have the evidence that things are popping on that. But for right now, we're just going to let you know that it's happening. You can go and take a look at it and make some, go through this stuff, just parse it out for yourself at this point. But we're going to refrain from judgment. And that when we start talking smack, we got it. We got the goods. So, right?
The receipts.
So we're going to hold that. We're going to put a pin in that for right now. Stay tuned. The thing that I was holding, the heaviest thing that we've got in front of us right now is, and I think that I'd like for Dr. Cole to talk to us about this, to lead on this subject, the killing of the 23-year-old Palestinian journalist Hossam Shabbat. We've got to talk about that. Maria.
So I think I shared with you in a video, the last video, probably that of him with his cameraman in his car talking to a little girl who in Gaza who said to him, "I thought you were martyred," right? Which is a very chilling thing to witness when only moments later he was, right? Now, I am not sure of the exact number of journalists that have been targeted, right? And I believe that it is in the hundreds since this war began. There are no, he is not the first. As a matter of fact, he wasn't the only last week. There was another journalist that was targeted and killed in Gaza last week.
Right.
And this is alarming, right? And I do think that when you are repressing speech and you are trying to repress information and you're trying to prevent information from coming out, like the truth should not have a censor, right? And when you have to censor the information, you're losing.
Right.
And that is what should concern all of us. We are seeing, and it is overwhelming for me personally with the work that I do every day. We are bearing witness to a heavy-handedness of censorship and quashing of speech and the taking of people in the middle of the night as if we are back in times we thought we put behind us. And it is something that should give everybody pause. Anybody who believes that it couldn't happen to them, guess what? It's going to happen to you. And anybody who wants to defend free speech should be rising up and really understanding, right? Like, we don't have to agree. And we don't have to agree. But we have to understand, right, that what is happening right now should give every nation pause as to what is going on. It's chilling.
So when I was doing, when I was checking into what it means, I asked Google, was it under the ICC, International Criminal Court, was it illegal to murder a journalist in a war zone? And I found a website called article19.org, and it covered that extensively. And it is illegal to kill a journalist. They are afforded the same rights that one would have as a soldier if you're captured as an active journalist in a war zone. Granted, you are not contributing to the atrocities. You become a prisoner of war as a soldier would. Mm-hmm. And you have all of the rights therein of a prisoner of war. And what we've seen routinely in this particular conflict, we have seen journalists continue to be not only murdered, like, not in the crossfire. It's a dangerous place to be, right? You see Dan Rather up in a tree, in Vietnam. And so these are dangerous places to be, and journalists have gotten killed as a consequence of their placing in these circumstances. But these journalists are being targeted by the IDF, as I understand it, and being murdered. And he talked about being targeted, and he knew that he was being targeted and hunted. This is a 23-year-old person. In the United States of America, we go out of our way to protect our youth. That's the only way we get to continue, right? Particularly talented and dedicated youth who are showing promise. We kind of build, partitions around them to protect them and to lift them up, as long as they're not doing the fraud. Okay. As long as they're not young con artists. And we try to facilitate their success. And what we're seeing here is that there is no regard for human life, even those who are doing jobs in these war zones. And that is a direct violation of the Geneva Conventions. And it hopefully one day will be prosecuted by the International Criminal Court if things ever get back to normal.
Yeah. You're listening to Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. Give us a call at 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. Well, it's hard to, again, the bar has moved so far up and down, but even in the United States, speech is under attack, free speech. And Trump has done various things. He's even chastised Fox News. And I mean, it's like, how this was his platform the whole time he was in office, and the first time, and now he's like, oh, well, that's not right. You shouldn't have said that, blah, blah, blah. He's totally propagandizing everything. And people who speak out, there have been several anti-Gaza genocide protesters who have been arrested or have disappeared. It's not only chilling, it's terrifying. So he doesn't want people to speak out. And at this point, he does whatever he wants, or he does whatever Elon Musk wants. And the Congress, the Republicans are all going to back him up, and the Democrats aren't going to do anything but lay down and play dead. So that leaves us with the third branch of government, the judiciary. There was a judge who ruled against Trump, and Trump, tried to get him impeached because he ruled against Trump. And Justice Roberts said, no, you cannot do this. So he took a stand, but it might be a little bit too little too late.
Now, we got a caller calling on the line, but I wanted to check in with this Vox article that I used for research on the Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh breaking with the president on this issue. It's FCC versus Consumer Research. I just posted that on Surly Voices because I tried so hard to summarize this article. Was not able to do it with all my might. And it's basically asked the justices to revive a dead legal doctrine known as non-delegation, which places strict limitations on Congress's authority to delegate power to federal agencies. Essentially move that power over to the judiciary. And the long story short is it's essentially there's this delegation. What it does is it adds a tax to the cellular service, customary, there's specific language, customary cellular service of people who live in urban areas, to make it possible to facilitate those same services for Americans that live in rural and semi-rural areas, because it is more expensive to provide service to people who live in those areas. But we don't want there to be this huge discrepancy between what information that people can access and services that people can access for the same dollar amount in the urban areas as in urban and rural areas. So basically, we're cost sharing because it costs more to provide the services in sparsely populated areas. Now, somehow, in keeping with the unhinged goings on of the current administration, this non-delegation FCC versus the Consumers Research has made it to the Supreme Court, and they're asking for this to be heard. Justice Thomas, of course, wants it to go away. They don't want any kind of taxes, right? So they don't care if people go back to the Stone Ages because they can't get news in rural and remote areas. And we're already having a problem with that. We're having a problem with education everywhere.
Yes.
And the quality is just gone, it's spiraled. And the problem is, this legal doctrine, besides the difficulty it would create for agencies trying to carry out their mandates, it appears nowhere in the Constitution. So there's no precedent that's been set, and there's no expectation that a precedent will be set. And so in the middle of this burning question about free speech, right, about money, the power of the purse, and who gets to claw back decisions that have already been made by one branch of our government, we've got cases being heard by the Supreme Court that should just be business as usual, foregone conclusion. Congress made the decision to allocate these funds, and now they're trying to undo that. Okay, so we can talk about this service and what it costs Americans, but do we have to take it to the Supreme Court when they need to be trying to help us ascertain speech, keep religion out of schools? That's another decision that Amy Coney Barrett has dissented on. You know, somebody needs to send her an Act Blue donation form.
No.
I mean, because it sounds like she's kind of slipping and sliding over there.
If you noticed during the State of the Union address,
yes,
she gave him the biggest stink face.
They have the picture on this Vox article. I posted it in Surly Voices just now, and the post says, if you're listening, please read this for context. So you can go and look at it right now. But I promise you, it's like a 10,000 word article. You're not going to get through it. And when you do, you probably won't be smarter. But I have so many questions. And I was looking at this picture of Brett Kavanaugh and Elena. They were all sitting together when the president addressed the joint chambers of Congress, as they say, they didn't call it State of the Union. But I was looking at this picture and I thought, I wonder if they're getting it. And that's why I phrased it like that. Is the Supreme Court breaking up with DJT? Because it occurred to me that these people may be coming into the starkest realization that they may be the only thing that stands between this country essentially dissolving, this corporation being dissolved, and this corporation continuing to be the United States of America. That's a very sobering. Could you imagine?
It's too late. It's too late.
Because, yeah, I mean, they make the
They
rulings.
did this.
Yeah.
They
make the
created
rulings
this.
and
They
who enforces
absolutely
them?
gave the powers.
Yeah.
They told him he was immune,
Yep.
and here we are. What are they going to do? Throw him in jail? They can't do that. I bet you when they're sitting together like that, Elena Kagan is sitting there going, "I told you so." That's the only thing that
It looks
happened.
like, where am I? What planet or galaxy? This is the Andromeda Galaxy. I'm from the Milky Way, please.
All right, let's talk to Simon in Lakeland. Hi, Simon.
Hi, good morning, ladies. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I've got a question for you, but first I want to say something. You know, the great educator of the 20th century, Mortimer Adler, said that people get 47% of their knowledge through conversation. And so you're talking about championing free speech. What a great topic, and hopefully you'll let me finish, because I do have a question for you three ladies. The general manager at WMNF, Randy Zimmerman, filed a police report against me.
Okay. Simon, that has...
We can't do that.
No.
I'll go on to the question then.
All right, go on to the question.
Okay. The question is, if you three ladies knew that October 7th was going to happen, and you had the knowledge that it would happen, would you have informed the Israeli government?
Okay, if I had known it was going to happen, would I have informed the Israeli government?
Before it happened.
Before it happened. Don't you think the Israeli government knew it was going to happen? Don't they have like the best intelligence service in the world?
There were nearly 7,000, I apologize, I believe it was 5,000 people that came over, nearly 3,000 civilians and also thousands of Hamas. So my question again is, if you knew it was going to happen, would you have informed the Israeli government that it's definitely going to happen?
I don't see why I wouldn't. Maria, what would you do? Maria. She must have stepped away. What's the point of the question, Simon? Because who was it that...
But part of my question is because, the conversation is one of language, and people are saying that this is armed resistance, and then people are using the word genocide, and people are using, instead of terrorism, freedom fighters. So my point is, this is not a situation where people are talking about the terrorist organization of armed resistance and the usage of rape, killing dogs, and what so forth. Let me finish. Decapitating individuals, decapitating animals, and so on. So this is talking about the power. The conversation is going back to power, the power of one group, which is the Israeli government, which is the most powerful army in that region, versus the oppressed. Now, the oppressed is not attacking Egypt, even though Egypt is on the border of Gaza. They are attacking. So this is an anti-Israel discussion. This is not a discussion of oppression because it's becoming selective of how Hamas or the Gazans have lived in Gaza. Because no one's attacking.
I have to let you go because
Please feel free to write an email that summarizes the remainder of what you have to contribute,
I can't,
and we'll read it on air.
Andy blocked my email to the station.
Okay, Simon. Well,
all right.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for calling, Simon. So to his point, I mean, on October 7th, everybody was like, oh, my God, this is horrible. And it's like I have said on this show many times, in a self-defense posture, you lose your credibility when you then become the aggressor. For example, when you have somebody attack you, you're allowed to respond with equal force, not to decimate the whole country. So, yeah, everybody was on Israel's side on October 7th and in the days following, but then the agenda changed. It became less about self-defense and more about wiping out Gaza.
Literally, the reason why the discussion goes the way that it goes is because Gaza is a heap of rubble, and people are still, buying fruit in an open-air market over in Israel. And so whenever you have that level of inequity, it seems the details get lost in the glaring disparity. And the 50,000 people that have died, and the first 45 pages of the list that names the dead are children age 0. So that's why the discussion may seem one-sided. It is because it's not that there hasn't been damage of note in those people's lives. They lost children. That was a real thing that happened. They were going about their lives, and then one day, people were dead. And it was devastating until over the next 30 days, we watched as Gaza was carpet bombed. So I want to refresh everyone's memory because this is what happened. Carpet bombed with no end in sight, starved, and we were bombing schools, hospitals, places of worship. We were aghast when the Trump administration entered schools. ICE entered schools because traditionally these places have been known and named as places of asylum. And so when you carpet bomb places of worship, and these are very sophisticated technologies, and so they know exactly where and whom they are bombing. So I'll say no more. Everyone is capable of reading the news. We've been here now for about a year and a half, and we're still here. And the ceasefire has unraveled, and we will continue to report the genocide, as it were, in Gaza, and we will continue to discuss the glaring inequities, and tens of thousands of people have been killed against the Geneva Conventions without even so much as any serious effort to see that these people are removed from power and prosecuted.
All right, now the queue is backed up.
Shoot.
Let's talk to Mike in Sarasota. Hi, Mike.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I would like to directly answer Simon's question. Just as I would not have informed King George of the American revolutionaries' plans for the Boston Tea Party, and just as I would not have informed the Nazis of the French resistance plans against Nazi occupation, and just as I would not have informed the American George Custer of the plans of the Indians to rise up against him, I would definitely not have informed Israel of Hamas's plans, because Hamas are brave freedom fighters fighting against a brutal occupation which has gone on for for decades, and possibly even more than a century, depending on how far you go back in history. So basically, no, I would not have informed the occupier and the sadistic and violent racists of Israel about plans to fight against them.
Got it.
And I do want to end with one final thing, which is that, getting back to your other point about freedom of speech in America, I hope that sissy boys like Hegseth and Marco Rubio hear about American citizens like me in support of Hamas, and I dare them to come after me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Let's see. Let's talk to Brian in Sarasota. Hi, Brian.
Hi. I'm on the same page as the last person. The problem in the United States is that AIPAC, the American Israeli PAC, and a few other Jewish organizations.
Okay, hold on for a second. When we want to separate the genocide sympathizers from Judaism, they are not synonymous, and that unintentionally, I know, you'll be venturing into the area of anti-Semitism. We have to discuss the actions. Hold on. Let me just say this. I have to say this. We have to discuss the actions of the state of Israel, independent of the Jewish diaspora. Go on.
I do have some Jewish grandchildren, by the way. The other half of the family is Jewish. I'm basically nothing. But
we don't want to tokenize our family members either, so.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, though, is that we cannot say anything about Israel because it'll be classified as anti-Semitic.
No, we're saying it. We're saying it, and you're saying it. But we're just gonna, when we say Jewish, then we're splitting hairs here. Like we're venturing over, because if you say these individuals did this thing, but if you say black people, right, instead of the NAACP, which you have issue, that's different.
But the problem is, I'll backtrack. I oppose what Israel's doing in Gaza.
Okay.
It is genocide, and it's deliberately planned to remove Palestinians from their country. And it's the same thing that happened when the bombing of Yemen. Well, people are concerned about the leak. No.
Okay, give me about 15 more seconds because we got
Yeah,
the queue is backed
the
up,
queue's
Brian.
backed up, and we gotta
want you
get
to
these folks
have
out.
time to complete your point.
Yemen.
Okay.
And if you wonder why 9/11 happened, it's our intrusion into Arab countries and the bombing and killing of their people.
Agree.
All right. So we have to let you go, Brian, because the queue's backed up, but thank you for calling.
And I'm sure the emails are off the chain.
All right. Fran in Largo. How are you, Fran?
Oh, I'm fine, and I want to thank you for what you said right after you were finished talking with Simon. You made things so perfectly clear about what's happening. You articulated it perfectly, and they are the aggressors against these people. Over aggressive about what happened with the people that are hostages and everything. Now, just to oversimplify things a little bit, somebody said, that famous expression, never again, when it comes to, the Holocaust and all the millions that were killed, which, of course, never again, anything like that, which means not just for those people in the Holocaust and World War II, but it means never again to anyone,
Period.
anyone in Gaza, anyone in Rwanda, anywhere in Africa or South Africa or any other country. So that's maybe an oversimplification, but, it makes sense to me. I hope it does to a lot of other people. Okay, thank you for
Thanks,
letting me
Fran.
have
Thank you, Fran.
my say. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Jack in Dover.
Got 1 minute, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thought I'd add my 2 cents worth.
Okay.
Well, just a couple of things. One thing that I've learned recently is that in Judaism, the rabbis, they don't have a hierarchy. There's no real ranking.
Okay.
But they do have a president. His name is Rick Jacobs, and he's the president of the Union to Reform Judaism here in the United States.
Okay, we're not talking about Judaism. We're talking about the country of Israel.
Yes, sis.
Right. But my
But
point
we're
is
not.
that-
No, we're not talking about Judaism. We're talking about
Okay, I'm not-
what do you
I'm
have?
not-
Yeah.
I'm not even going there.
Okay.
I'm not even going there. What I called last week to try to talk to you girls about was a program that I was watching on TV called The House of David. And I found that it was very interesting that in the story of David and Goliath, that David was anointed by one of their religious leaders, and that he wasn't the winner of a country based on war. So
Okay.
I just thought that it was an interesting concept, that there's such a difference between modern-day religion and modern-day government.
All right.
that affects
Thank you
the
for
same
calling,
country.
Jack. We have to let you go. We're on
the lightning
lightning
round.
round. Hey, Chris. Lightning round, bud.
Yeah, I see. Good morning. Yeah,
Good morning.
As I've called in the past to mention, not only did Netanyahu's Likud party founded and financed Hamas, so many articles going back to many years on that, but they were forewarned, and there were at least two soldiers who are Yael Rotenberg and Maya Desiatnik, who had warned beforehand that they had seen suspicious staging of the invasion on October 7th, 2023, and they were dismissed. And also the Hannibal Directive. I don't know if you've heard of the Hannibal Directive. Former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant says that he thinks that the Hannibal Directive was used where Israel killed its own hostages, those who are being held hostage. They have the Hannibal Directive is a policy of killing hostages who are under enemy control. And so we have. I'll just give you, if you want to find more reference on this, from Haaretz, Jerusalem Post, Times of Israel. Go to my blogs page at theliberationsstation.com, and there's the evidence of all that. You'll see.
Okay.
Under it's entitled "Evidence that October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel by Hamas was an inside job."
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, Stephen in St. Petersburg. We're in the lightning round.
If you go through history, right, we never questioned the Egyptian Empire. We never questioned the Persian Empire or the Roman Empire or a lot of the great empires that happened in the last 6,400 years. But when it comes to the history of the nation of Israel and the Jewish people, nobody wants to acknowledge it. Nobody wants to believe. Hello?
Okay. All right, go on.
Oh, so anybody can get the scriptures out and look. The land that was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob includes Gaza. It includes the West Bank, which was called Judea. It includes the Sinai.
Wrap it up, Stephen. Let's land the plane.
That the Jewish claim to the land that you are all saying that they're committing genocide against people that are really Jordanian Arabs that call themselves Philistine. That's where the word Palestinian comes from. The Philistines came from Greece. But anyway, the Jews are fighting for their survival against the confederacy of Islamic Arabs. And that's what's going on. And the left, I never thought would side with Islam against the Jewish people.
All right.
And anybody
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, okay. I got to say this. We only have a couple minutes, and I don't want to stop now. But I got to say that we seem to be struggling with making the delineation between the Jewish diaspora, like all Jewish people, secular, non-secular Jews around the world, and the actions of a state. There are many people, because it needs to be said, that are Jewish that are not here for genocide of any peoples themselves. I mean, and then there's a lot of y'all out there that I wouldn't tell you where Anne Frank was hiding because of some of the stuff you're saying today, and I'm not here for it. So let's just try to get to it, and let's try to keep this thing about the indictment of a state's actions, because it's against all sorts of laws.
Yeah, and it's like I said earlier. Nobody was cheering on Hamas on October 7th.
No.
Nobody.
No. All right.
Even for months after. But then when it became evident that there was no end to this, we're going to challenge it.
I am trying to see. We got a lot of emails, but I don't know if we're going to get to them. We are going to try to start next week with the old emails, but we're gonna clear our formatting so that we're getting through this stuff. Okay.
All right. Let's see. Emails.
All right.
I don't have my.
I'm going to run right through.
Okay.
Them.
Good.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
Alvaro says thank you for today's program, and wonderful program today. Thank you. We appreciate that. It's those stark statements like that are the most sincere. Wendy is saying that, but good on Randy for doing something about Simon. Okay. And we've got DeMarco. There's no justification for violence. However, the less responsive a government is to a people's human rights, the more violence there will be, inevitably be. Nothing justifies genocide. Arming Israel at the moment is illegal. Tell Trump to stop illegally arming Israel and funding genocide to protect apartheid. I mean, I guess he could arm Israel if he had any type of plebiscite from the people who are paying for it, but it doesn't seem that way.
Well, Elon Musk is an apartheid child. Come on.
Oh, yeah, about that part. And then we've got Kimberly, I think, calling the White House and directly telling them, I wouldn't be voting for someone who enabled genocide can make a difference if enough people did it. Well, we did try that. Like, I was in D.C. a couple times by the hundreds of thousands, and it didn't work.
There's an agenda at play, and it doesn't include freedom of any sort. There's Frank giving me the finger. So we'll pick up the conversation again next week. Thank you so much for listening to Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. Please call us again next week, and we will talk then.
No man in the world.
The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls.